Tanzania is a country in Africa that still creates national parks. 1/4 of her land is protected. Despite the continent's ever-growing population, Tanzania's national parks are not just isolated collections of animals. They are wildlife in an African wilderness. Wild places, spectacular and natural, held in trust for the future. Tanzania national parks are the guardians of the planet's last great herds. From the peaks of Mount Kilimanjaro to the depths of Lake Tanganyika, national parks are working hard to preserve the most diverse ecosystems in Africa. By buying this video, you contribute directly to that cause. Now join us on safari as Tanzania National Parks, together with world-renowned filmmakers, brings you a series of award-winning films and takes you to Serengeti and beyond, to this Eden in Africa.
Seven of the boldest hunters in Africa. 3 of them female, 4 male. Within this pack of predators, each animal is an individual character. But they have to know their place. Both males and females have their rank. One female is dominant over the other females. She's alpha, and she has 9 puppies. Her sister, Beta, is of lower rank and is pregnant. She's looking for a den, a place to give birth. But 2 sets of pups in this tightly knit society could cause a family dispute. Watching Beta go to ground is the unusually marked Snow White. She's too young to have puppies of her own, but over the next 3 months, she'll watch and learn as the 2 sisters struggle to raise their families. To us, they may seem closely related to domestic dogs, but they're not. Unique to this continent, they are known as the wild dogs of Africa. The herds grazing across the Serengeti plains in Tanzania have long been fair game for a number of packs of wild dogs. The dogs are nomads until they have pups. Beta has given birth, always an intriguing event for other females, especially for Snow White. She can hear Beta and the tiny new pups below. Alpha's puppies are now 4 weeks old and can be left while their mother investigates the new event in the pack. Alpha, as top dog, will expect Beta to treat her with respect, even though they are sisters. The puppies are so irresistible that Snow White just can't wait to get close to Alpha's. She's nervous, but can see that Alpha is busy, so enjoys herself. Beta creeps and cowers in gestures of submission towards her sister. Alpha seems able to hold Beta completely in her power. Snow White's game comes to a sudden end. She shakes her head in deference to the returning Alpha. She'll watch and wait for another chance to play. But something unusual happens. Alpha is moving her puppies into her sister's den to join the newborn. That's her mate watching. He's the dominant male in the pack. Alpha goes back for another of her pups. Snow White seems puzzled. Beta is locked out of her own den. Alpha doesn't like Snow White being so close to her pups and makes it clear to her. Her mate lends his support to Alpha. Together, they'll see off Snow White, and Alpha will continue transferring the pups to Beta's den. Snow White will just have to contain her enthusiasm for a little while longer. It's a nervous, cringing Beta that faces her sister now. But Beta cannot challenge. She is outranked, barred from her own pups. It's thought that with two mothers in one pack, the dominant mother assumes all the pups belong to her. Alpha, therefore, has collected all the pups together, but, unusually, in Beta's den. Snow White goes over to Beta and gives her a friendly nuzzle of reassurance. But it's not enough to take her mind off her present problem. She seems increasingly disturbed by Alpha's behavior. Alpha is unmoved by her sister's calls of distress. And Snow White retreats from Beta's unresolved anguish to rest among the males. For a moment, the weather changes, calling a truce in the many lives sharing the plains. The forlorn-looking beater is encouraged and cheered up by the young Snow White. In their greeting, she seems for the moment to be diverted from the loss of her pups to her sister. Alpha may be more powerful than the other females, but when she is approached by her mate, she greets him with body language suitable to his high position in the pack. Beta is fully occupied with Snow White. Greeting generally involves a good deal of face licking, but it's the top dog's privilege to mark the grass with urine. Beta and Snow White are unconcerned with the ritual of scent marking. The dominant male of the pack matches Alpha's mark exactly, while she returns to the den with its 2 sets of pups. A greeting ceremony is beginning to take place in the pack. Snow White is in close touch with 2 males. The tongue and lip licking is often a prelude to a hunt and helps bond the team together. But it's also an Achilles heel, a bodily contact all too efficient at passing infections from one to another. The intensity of the greeting, the cries and the kissing seem to stir the blood, confirming their comradeship before the chase. As mothers, Beta and Alpha will remain behind while the rest of the pack sets off. Approaching a herd of wildebeest slowly, the dogs can get quite close before their quarry begins to move. They build their speed to a steady 30 miles an hour. They can sustain this for 3.5 miles or so. Beta watches from close by the den. The lead dogs set the pace, the front runners changing as the prey alters course. Only minutes or so from capture, and the victim is dead. To our eyes, unpleasantly disemboweled. To theirs, swiftly and efficiently killed. They take their share speedily before the scavengers move in. There are hungry pups to be fed. At the den, Beta is watching from a distance as Alpha attempts to suckle both litters of pups. Beta's puppies, younger and smaller, cannot reach any of the 14 or so teats that Alpha's pups are monopolizing. It seems the youngest are going hungry, so close to plenty. Beta, their true mother, is understandably anxious for them. But when Alpha's pups have had their fill, the tiny strangers do manage to reach a nipple each. And Beta relaxes on seeing them feed. Fearing another attack, Beta begins to shake her head, appeasing the passing Alpha. The dominant female again makes her mark on the grass, but notices her sister making a clandestine approach to the pups, hoping to suckle her own family. Alpha storms over. Beta has no choice but to be meek in the only language she knows. Alpha has made her point and stays in charge of all 13 pups. The pups are vulnerable to the spotted hyenas, fierce predators in their own right. The pups play, unaware of the very real danger close by. But its plans could be foiled. Rescue may be at hand. Like the others, Snow White knows the vulnerable part of a hyena is its backside. The dogs tire, and the spark of hunting seems extinguished in the hyena. Sharp teeth have punished its anatomy enough. Blooded but still on its feet, the hyena looks for other trouble. Alpha has decided to move the puppies from the den. They're heavy, and she hasn't really got a skilled grip on this one. Beta watches this maneuver. It's not unusual. The den is a bit smelly now, and obviously an attraction to hyenas. But Alpha really isn't very good at carrying pups, despite her rank and experience. Some zebras have wandered between the old and the new den, about 200 yards away. Alpha has an even worse grip on this pup. She really should have as much of its body in her mouth as possible. He's in for a very rough ride today. Miraculously, no harm's done. Now she's got a much better hold. The pups freeze instinctively, no matter how much she grips them. Her mate watches her work. And Beta's interest is leading to her wanting to help. But she's learned even less about moving pups than her sister. And this struggle will certainly teach Snow White very little. Just as she gets the knack, Alpha notices what's going on, and the pup is the first to suffer for Beta's offer of help. It's not Beta's day. Her maternal instincts are thwarted again. Beta comes over to the males. She's still in deep distress. The rest of the pack move over to the newly established den, still tired and full from hunting and feeding. Alpha greets her mate and begs food from him. With so many pups to feed, she must be almost constantly hungry. But she gets none. His priority is to regurgitate meat to the puppies. Alpha must compete with the pups for what scraps they'll part with. Beta will have to do the same, but is also watching to see her own pups competing successfully with Alpha's. Now 6 weeks old, this one is much smaller. Still distressed, she has no stomach for a meal today. Bloated with meat, a pup turns turtle. And it's not easy to get right side up again for a time. The last thing needed on a full tummy is a tickly brother or sister wanting to play. This rolling tangle of puppyhood is growing fast, due to the pack's prowess at hunting on the Serengeti plains. A white-naped raven drops in, hoping for some scraps. It's an object of curiosity to the pups. Sometimes it seems there are strange beings in this world it's better to ignore and hope they go away. Beta's little pups must accept the rougher play of the older family. Snow White greets the pup, still trying to get close to these inviting bundles of life, but quickly shakes her head submissively to the dominant alpha. All Beta's pups have now grown enough to be able to take milk from Alpha. But there's still competition for space. It's Snow White that first hears plaintive cries from the den. She goes to listen at the other entrance. There's no sound there. There must be a pup buried. The ground is soft. A tunnel has collapsed. Snow White attempts a rescue. Alpha senses there's trouble. A more efficient digger, Alpha will get deeper more quickly, but may already be too late to save the victim. It's alive, and there's no real harm done. The pups are scattered and easily available to romp with. Snow White seeks approval to stay with the pups, and seems to get it. Beta's distress is only increased by the younger female's achievement. Here is Snow White enjoying some of the pleasures of motherhood that the true parent has so far been denied. But Alpha is no longer near. For a moment, the puppies are alone, and Beta is at last able to get to her own family. Now the pups are older, Alpha seems to have relaxed her grip and joins the hunt. For the first time, Beta is free to be with all the puppies. Naturally, they try to feed from her, but by now her milk has ceased to flow. She's doubly cheated by not being able to suckle her pups or even be recognized by them as their true mother. The pack is lining up for the chase. Thompson's gazelles are a favorite prey, though not an easy catch. More than half of all animals targeted by wild dogs escape. Despite their stamina and speed, they are by no means able to outrun all their prey. What they do have is a keener eye than ours for selecting the individual that is within their capabilities. The Thompson's gazelles are ready for these killers out of the grass. A fit, healthy adult Tommy has a way of telling his pursuers they're wasting their time. The gazelle stots, and the better he stots, the fitter he appears to be, and the less energy he wastes before the dogs switch to likelier prey. Stotting also warns other gazelles that wild dogs are approaching, but this high stotter will live to be tested another day. The pack has focused on a fawn. It's a small meal for so large a pack. Later, they'll have to hunt again and give the stotting gazelles another run for their lives. Beta, left in charge of the pups, is more relaxed now. It seems her sister will not come back tonight, And until the moon is up for hunting, the pack has time and energy enough for play. Through the morning fog, Beta watches Alpha come to the den and regurgitate food for all the pups. Snow White appears, and Beta joins in, begging for food. The tired hunters return as the rising sun begins to burn away the mist. Her night's task over, Alpha seeks sleep in the den, leaving Beta still in charge of the pups. But Beta feels the need to possess her own family, and at last the opportunity has come. She begins to move the smaller and lighter ones to a den of her own. Just 1 or 2 to go. 50 yards will separate her family from Alpha's, if only she can complete the transfer. Her sister's awake. What she has seen has put her in a threatening mood. The excited Beta greets Alpha and her mate very submissively. And continues to collect her family. Only 1 pup remains to be carried. But Alpha stands firm between the dens. Beta is determined to carry on. But her sister is moving in for confrontation. Alpha takes possession of the pup, to Beta's distress. Alpha has now calmly collected all her puppies together and is coaxing them to follow her to the new den. Once again, she has outwitted her sister. They've never had to walk to a new den before and are a little hesitant. But Alpha's calls give them the necessary courage to follow her. The new den is far more challenging than the old. It's full of tiny caves, all inviting exploration. Alpha and Beta have already checked for danger, so there will be no more surprises to spoil their adventures. Squeezing through is much more fun than walking around. But that's not to everyone's taste. A cool, shady archway is a great find. There are really several dens here, no doubt used by generations of Serengeti Plains animals. Snow White is keeping her eyes on the pups, and Alpha is finding the experience of many sets of new sharp teeth a less than endurable experience. Alpha now greets a very deferential Beta. Her sister's elaborate repertoire of subservient licking and kissing seems to be a strong bid for approval. Clearly, they become friends. Alpha will no longer be concerned over Beta approaching the pups. And Beta seems relaxed by Alpha's acceptance of her. Snow White's special relationship with Beta still seems intact. All three females of the pack are in harmony. This den will become more familiar to them than the others they've known. It will be the last before they leave as nomads with their parents. But for now, they're old enough to be left to hide in it each time the pack is away on a hunt. For a month, the pack hunts time and again among the 2 million wildebeest that trek across the Serengeti. Time and again, they pick their quarry and relentlessly run it into the ground. There's no deliberate torture here. No thought that killing for killing's sake is fun. The wildebeest calf must die to feed them and their pups. And other mouths will benefit as well. The same hunger drives a hyena into the fray, but this one's mistimed its arrival and misjudged the opposition. Snow White, Alpha, Beta, and all 4 males have worked hard for this meal, and hardly a morsel will be wasted. Lappet-faced vultures follow the fortunes of the wild dog pack day after day, ready to take what's left of a carcass. Their squabbles and dances lend a somber elegance to the small and rather intolerant group that remains for every post-mortem. The dogs tease one another playfully for the last scraps. The past month has set the young dogs well on the path to maturity. In their play, the adults' gestures are appearing as they establish rank among themselves. And when the pack returns to the den, the pups, at this turning point in their lives, poised between youth and adulthood, set off excitedly to welcome the victors of the hunt. Each youngster, for a moment, crouches submissively as the adults greet them. It's easier for an adult to take their enthusiastic greetings lying down. And when everyone has finished jumping over each other, the meal can begin. But the young dogs may have to wait until the adult is ready to regurgitate. Ultimately, dinner is served. The days are hotter now. A hunter weary from a morning's work finds welcome shade. But the youngsters find the heat and insects oppressive as well. There's little room for adults and pups under the archway, and the grown-ups find the puppies' sharp teeth uncomfortable. The dogs are noticing a change on the plains. The last stragglers of this year's migrating herds are leaving. The soil is dry, the grass poorer. The dry season is engulfing them in its dust. Beta and the others know it's time for them all to move. For 3 months, the plains have sustained them. When the herds have gone, there'll be little here for hunters such as they. The half-grown pups must play the last games of their youth, and this evening be ready to leave the den. Snow White, Beta, Alpha, and the males of the pack have made their decision. Their future now lies as wanderers in this wilderness, moving to wherever they can find food. A gesture, a call or a touch. The unknown signal is given, and the pack moves out. 1,000 square miles or more will be their home. The conflicts between the two sisters have been resolved. The pack is in harmony, a happy unity essential to its future. That's how it should have been. Sadly, 2 months later, they all died. Ironically, they were victims of a disease passed between them by the very ceremonies of greeting that bound each individual so closely one to another.